All right, welcome to the Power of Percussion podcast out of Louisville, Kentucky. My name is Kay Michelle Lewis, and I will be your host for this afternoon. I want to welcome my next guest. He is from here in Louisville, Kentucky. Please welcome Andy Cook. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Louisville. Gorgeous
yeah.
outside. I heard your band the other night, Saturday night, Banshee. It was
Pretty well,
amazing. Amazing. First time I've heard the band, and first time
Yeah.
I've seen you play. I heard about you from a friend of mine, Josue, who's a hand
Oh, yeah.
percussionist. And he's like, man, you got to check out this guy, Andy. And I was like, okay. So reached out, and then here you are. So
Yeah.
tell us.
Josue actually headed my djembe.
Oh, awesome! Yeah,
Yeah.
he's done
Yeah,
that
he's awesome, dude.
he's done that to several of mine too. He is like the man in town that can
Uh-huh.
take your djembe from dead to making it alive.
Yeah, it's one of a handful.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, artist, musician, writer, welder. I do a lot of different stuff. Um, I've been doing art since I was 2 years old and making music since I was probably 10, 15-ish, somewhere in there. Um, I started by playing the drum set, like the regular drum kit.
Uh-huh.
And then throughout the years, I started hanging out with people that got into percussion and stuff, and then didgeridoos and all kinds of goofy stuff like that. And I just got really into it, and, I've just been absorbed, like, into percussion in one way or another for over 20 years now. So, and it's a way of life.
Yeah.
I don't ever see me being an old person and not ever playing a drum for the rest of my life.
I get it. Oh, I totally get it. Yes, I'm gonna be the grandma walking down the street, like, with her djembe on the back and just walking and playing. Yes, I totally get it. There's going to be a drum in the picture if I'm 120 years old. So you're the same way, huh?
Yeah, I'm addicted to them.
So yeah, your band. I saw them the other night, and you guys were playing in a wrestling ring, right?
They're playing in a wrestling ring. Yeah, it was wild.
I saw kind of like it bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's gotta be like tricky. Like, are you bouncing and playing to the beat? Like, how did that go?
Just hoping that my things don't fall over. There was a couple times Romana jumped and everything went.
Yeah, that looked pretty amazing though. Like, I thought it was great what they were doing for the community, like holding these concerts. Ohio Valley Wrestling, is that the name of the place?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's very cool. So
seemed like a good group of people.
Yeah, are they doing that, like, how often are they doing those concerts?
I think they're doing it weekly.
Wow.
I may be wrong, but I think it's weekly.
Very cool. So
And I just found out about them right before we did this, so I don't have a lot of like cool information to tell you about them, except for like we really dug the space, we dug the people. They're like just top-notch, great people to work with.
yeah, it looked like a really good thing that they were doing for the community. Providing a space for these bands to come and play, and people can donate money to the bands and to the Ohio Valley Wrestling. So that was really cool. So your setup, I noticed your setup. I was like, man, that's a really cool setup he's got going.
It's a lot going on. It's the second version of this drum set that I've had. Now, some people that know me know that I was in a band called Son of the Widow, and I had kind of a similar percussion kit, but it was based around tablas.
Oh, wow.
So instead of right here I've got a djembe and I've got my doumbek right here. Before I had the tablas, which the lower one and the higher one. And then I had a few other percussion elements around me, and I had a kick drum and a hi-hat and cymbals that I hit with my hands and stuff. And I had a problem with miking it a whole lot. You go into venues and they're like, what is this? And I can't make this sound like anything because they're so quiet. Then everything else around them is so loud, and then you get feedback and all kinds of stuff like that. And so when I got in this group with Romana, I was thinking about doing this again, but I was like, I wanted to do it in a way that I can be loud, and if I'm in a venue where there's not a good soundboard or sound person, I can just beat the hell out of them and be heard, you know. So that was the way it's evolved to this, and so now I've got many things I do on the floor. So I've got a little teensy hi-hat that's next to my kick drum pedal, and then I've got a snare turned on its side, and so I'm playing this little bitty hi-hat over here with my heel, and I'm playing the snare with my heel.
Oh, wow.
And then with the front of my left foot, I'm playing the hi-hat, and with the front of my right foot, I'm playing the kick drum.
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of a wild juggling act.
I hope you're going to show us a little bit of that. Are you going to be able to show us a little bit of that?
Maybe I'll have to pick up my laptop and set it on the ground.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
show you.
That sounds amazing. I didn't know that all that was going on. Like the camera only showed like the front side of you, so it's kind of hard to tell what's happening back there.
If they would have shown you the side of me, it would have been like, huh?
Yeah, that's amazing. So can you show us some of the other drums with your setup? Because you were doing a lot with your hands. I noticed you were like crashing the cymbals with your hands. You were hitting all the drums with your hands. Sweet.
I keep resisting the urge to
add
more pieces to this, because at the beginning I started out with like a cajon and like a jingle on my foot.
Uh-huh.
And then I started like adding things. They'd come to the next band practice and be like, okay, so I got a djembe in here now. And they're like, okay, cool. And then next time they come over, like, okay, so I got a kick drum in here now. And they're like, okay, cool. And, then 2 months later, I've got this thing. And I'm like, okay, be happy with it. You don't have to keep adding to it. But I keep telling myself, like I want a second Doombeck, for my left hand so I can have them both going. And but it's just like, no.
Yeah.
I want a second Doombeck, for my left hand so I can have them both going. And but it's just like, no.
Yeah. Well, there's so many
Struggle's
different.
real.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes. I mean, there's so many different instruments that you can choose from, and how do you just pick one of those children, to be on the stage with you? You want all of them, right?
Juggling act.
So you have lots of instruments from different countries. Well, and what I noticed the other night when I listened to the band, the texture of sound from the band was really cool. And not just the texture of your instruments, but how they blend with the rest of the band was amazing. It was very full sounding, and it's it's a really cool sound. So I hope everybody checks out this band, Banshee.
Yeah, it's different, and I like it. They're real fun people to play with, and Romana, she's a character up on stage and just bigger than life. And then Stephen Phillips is just a whiz on the guitar. He's like a Robert Fripp type that's just like and Beverly Reed. I mean, she's just an amazing classically trained flute player, and I feel extremely lucky to play with these people.
Yeah, so. It was a really very cool sound. All I can say was like, oh, this is a treat. I haven't heard a sound like this in a while, so it was very cool. So the other day we were talking, and you were saying, I was like, this gotta hurt your hands, right? Playing with your hands and crashing cymbals on this metal and drums, and for that long of a set, you play for an hour or more. And you said, well, it's nothing because I work with metal. Can you tell us about that? Like
Right.
this.
Okay. Well, I've been working with metal for about 25 years, 26 years, something like that. And I'm a business owner. My company partners with a guy in a company called Rocker Built,
Okay.
and we're out in the Portland neighborhood. So we have a metal shop and a wood shop together in one, and we do a lot of like art related things. You know, a lot of like ornamental iron, and we do a lot of stuff for Texas Roadhouse, and we're doing all the handrails at the Galt House right now.
Oh, wow.
So on that huge remodel they're doing there, and
Sweet.
we got something really interesting, you know, and
Yeah.
I keep pinching myself sometimes, like I get paid to make art.
That's
So,
amazing. Yes, you
so
get to, right, you're doing something that you love, and it's, this is what you're getting paid to do, is like something
hmm
that you love. That's
yeah,
awesome.
and
Um,
something I'm good at too. So helps.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And so some of these things like companies or whoever, I mean, can it be a person that comes to you, or does it have to be all big corporate places? Do you do work
Oh
for
no,
like
no, we
individuals?
yeah. I mean, we could do. We'll answer the phone for anybody. You know, I mean, and until you run out of money, we could make it
Oh,
for you.
wow. Okay,
You know
cool.
what I'm saying? And so it's just like, yeah, and we do small jobs like a single handrail for, for a person up to doing the Galt House. And so we do commercial and residential. And,
So,
if anybody's got some kind of wild idea for something that they need, but they don't know where to go get it, then a lot of people know that they can call Andy and Brad over at Rocker Built, and we could probably figure it out, or we know who to call, you know.
awesome. Yeah,
So,
there was a handrail in the Highlands a long time ago. It's not there anymore. It was like a handrail that had a spider built into it. You know,
huh,
something like that. It was really cool.
that's cool.
So things that people come up with in their mind and say, you know, I want a handrail, but I want this handrail to have a sun integrated into it, or a spider,
Mhm.
or a snake, or whatever it is. Can you do
I've
stuff
done
like
fleur
that?
de lis too.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no,
Awesome.
I mean it's Louisville.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely. Yes, you have to be able to do that if you live in the city, right?
Right, right.
Well, cool. So Rockerbilt, what is a website people can get in touch with you?
It's www.rockerbuilt.com,
Okay,
and it's
sweet.
ROCKERBUILT.com.
Is there a story behind that name?
Well, so Brad and myself are both drummers, and we're both builders.
Okay, there you
And
go.
so, when we first started, there were a few of us that were together, and like all of us were musicians. And so we were coming up with names like Brad and I and some of the other guys were tossing around names, and this one I came up with actually stuck, and it described who we are and what we do. And so, and it wound up being a good name.
Yeah, I love it. It's perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so tell me why you're so passionate about drumming. I mean, you've done it for over 20 years and you're continuing. You're going to do it when you're a grandpa.
hmm
So why are you so passionate about this?
Well, I've said this to people before. I mean, drumming saved my life. So growing up, I guess about between 5 and 6, I started putting on a lot of weight as a child. And then by the time I was 16, 15, somewhere in there, I weighed about 315 pounds. And I was going through major depression in my life. And just as a sensitive, young kid who drew all the time, and I was kind of lost to a certain extent. And then a friend of mine was getting rid of a set of drums, and was just like, "Hey, do you want to buy this off of me?" It was like $100 or something, and I got my parents to give me $100, and then I got this drum set, and then I started playing it, and on our family's land, there was my great grandpa's house that nobody was living in, and so I set it up in there, and I spent all my time during probably the age of 16 playing that drum set like my life depended on it. And and so I wound up getting better and better, and then I bought another drum set, and by the time that I was about 22, I'd lost 135 pounds. And
Wow.
I I wasn't as angry as I used to be, and I was a lot, I don't want to say like I was all together, but I was a lot more in balance than I was growing up. And the times that I've strayed from the drum set, I've went through different times of gaining weight and losing weight and being depressed and not being depressed, and every time that I weave playing drums back into my life, uh, like the weight goes away and I start feeling better. My joints hurt a lot less. I mean, I'm a lot more limber, and
Mm-hmm.
so like it's I've had enough. I've had enough data in my life to go back and look back on, and I know that without a doubt that drums, every time they're in my life, I'm better as a human, all around. So
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's something that I don't know. There's a lot of research behind what you're saying. People, scientists, they have researched this, and it's happened to many people where this has happened, and it's really interesting. Everybody's story is a little bit different, but it comes back to the drumming has helped them in some way. It's boosted their mood, whatever it does in your brain. It's some of this, serotonin, all of those types of things that are going in your brain to make you happier.
well,
It actually does. It
I think
does.
it also the using of both parts of your brain like together. Like I mean, it's very it's math, and then there's passion and feeling and color.
Mm-hmm.
Like so it engages. I mean, like all of your not just your brain, but with me, it's every single one of my limbs,
Yeah.
and also my heels.
Yes.
So it's like that's you. If you could like do like a CAT scan of my brain and see what it looks like and how it's firing when I'm doing the big juggling act, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Like
that
on
would
4th of
be.
July or something.
That would be interesting to see. Somebody should get over there and hook your brain up really fast and see what happens.
Right, right.
Yeah, but it also engages your heart too. So it's not
Oh yeah.
just, you're talking about not just your
Oh yeah.
brain, but it does because
There's
expressing
pulse.
yourself, through this music and the drumming, and it is this activity that engages your full body experience. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is, oh, wow. So from 16, you said that's at 16 you got the drum set?
It was like 15 or 16, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but I mean, I grew up with like musical instruments in the house, like piano and guitar and stuff like that, but never a drum set. And uh, it was funny. When I was a kid and I was like really mad, I'd go out and we were surrounded by trees, and I would have sticks, and I'd be just hitting the trees with the sticks. And at some point, my mom looked over to my stepdad, is like, does he need to play drums? It seems like he needs to play drums. So,
there's an
uh,
obvious clue right there.
right, right. Either he's far too angry or he needs drums. So it's
Yes. Well,
both.
it's really interesting that, some people, express themselves through singing, art, piano, whatever instrument, violin. But then some people are just naturally, drums are that clicks for them. And
Yeah.
so it sounds like, yes, you were running around with sticks and beating on things. That's a sure sign.
Uh-huh. Well, my grandma, when I was really young, she would get out all the pots and pans, and she like the paper towel rolls, and she like dunk dunk. You hear the sound that makes? Well, you hear the sound that it makes when you hit it on the pan, and it the two sounds together make this. Now think about all the different sounds that you could make, and it's just, as a young, as a child, my brain was already started thinking about that kind of stuff, and I grew up listening to rock and roll and loving all that kind of stuff, David Bowie and Pink Floyd, and there's a whole universe full of music I could sit here and rattle off, but like I said, at a young age, we got the receptors firing, and if my grandma was alive right now and could see what I'm doing, she'd be like, well, that makes sense. I kind of helped that.
I was getting ready to say, yes, she got you off to this really cool start with your setup that you have right now, all those different sounds, which is amazing. All right. Well, hey, with everything that's in your setup that you currently have right there, what is your favorite drum in that particular setup? Do you have a favorite? Maybe they're all your favorite.
Well, I love them all individually, kind of the same. This djembe, though, is the center. It seems like this is the heart of the drum kit. Even though, the Doombeck works hand in hand with it, but really, to me, the djembe is the heart of this drum kit.
And so why do you say that? Because a lot of people that I've interviewed talk a lot about the djembe. Why do you feel that is the heartbeat of your particular kit?
Well, I think, there's the positioning of it, which it centers between my legs, and it, with this drum kit, I'm simulating playing the drum set. Okay, so this to me is the snare of the drum kit, but it's also partially a kick drum too, so it serves a lot of purposes, and it's this drum right here. It's just got a really nice the ka it's got a very beautiful note and a really great low end. It's not too low. I like it to be a little bit more on the high end, and Josue just knocked it out of the park. But like I said, I love all the different parts of this kit. One thing I really love is the snare drum and the kick drum. A friend of mine made them for me out of bourbon barrels.
Oh, wow.
So you heard of Derby City Custom Drums?
Yes.
Yes, that's Adam Ulrich. That's one of my buddies.
Awesome.
And so he made these both for me, and he's made multiple drum sets and stuff for me, and so his bourbon barrel drums are very, very special to me. And then the rest is just kind of an adornment. It's like they're accentuators.
Yes. They're all important. I totally get it. They are all important.
Yeah. But I've also I'm a big fan of tablas and frame drums.
Mm-hmm.
I love frame drums. I'm a big fan of Glenn Velez.
Oh yeah, he's incredible. Yes.
Oh my gosh, and Lane Redman, and there's some of the people that really inspired me. When I first started getting into percussion.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, would you like to play a little bit of this drum set for us? Just give us a little taste of what it sounds like. Because, seeing you play with the band was amazing, but this is a different view, so this is going to be cool. And it's just you playing.
It's just me, yeah.
my goodness. Woo! Your hands are on fire.
Pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, like, whoa. Between all the limbs and, first of all, I mean, like, I've played with my hands on drums for a long time,
Yeah.
but crashing cymbals and doing all of what you just did, I feel like, whoa, yeah. You'd have to work
Yeah.
with your hands all day to be able to do that.
Yeah. I'm just having fun with it, you know. So
Yeah, that was awesome. That was amazing. Thank you for demonstrating your kit for us. That was very cool.
no, hopefully at some other time they'll like maybe there'll be like another streaming thing, and I'll have somebody come around and look at like videotape from the other side, maybe.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
can, like, because the thing, people behind me actually kind of understand what the hell I'm doing, you know.
Right.
So,
Right.
oh,
So what are some of your favorite performances that you've done? Like what are some memories that you've had performing?
oh Lord. Um, I used to perform with Ron Whitehead. I don't know if you know that guy.
Yeah, I do.
And,
Uh-huh.
and so I used to go across the sea and perform in like London and Iceland and stuff with him. One of the most memorable times was, do you know a guy named David Amram?
What's say that again?
David Amram. Have you ever heard of that guy's name?
No. Uh-uh.
He's one of the original Beats.
Okay.
He's the one that wrote the Manchurian Candidate, the soundtrack for that.
Oh, wow.
And
Awesome.
So yeah, so he is an amazing flute player and a percussionist as well, and he specializes in a lot of Middle Eastern rhythms and stuff like that. And
Very cool.
there was, one night in particular, we were playing at this place called the Ocean in London, and so he dug my doumbek playing because he uses the doumbek in part of what he does, and at some point he had me come on stage with him and hold down the doumbek part while he divided up the audience in 3 sections and had them all doing different clap patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So then like the audience was participating and everything. It was like, I don't know, 300 or 400 people in the room, and it was just, David Bowie played that room the night before, and
Oh, cool. Very cool.
so that was a real fun, that was a fun memory. Another one I was telling somebody about the other day was I used to go down to the Gethsemane Monastery
Mm-hmm.
and listen to the monks' chants, and so I've been playing didgeridoo for a long time as well. And one of the times I was down there, we were taking a tour of the place, and one of the brothers who was showing us Thomas Martin's hermitage there,
Uh-huh.
I asked him, I was just like, okay, I brought this didgeridoo with me, and I know it sounds really amazing in the main chanting hall. Is there any way that I could play this in there? And he's like, yeah, I think so.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so then I got to go play it in there, and it was just,
Whoa.
yeah, it filled the whole room,
That's
and that was,
oh my gosh.
it was a holy moment,
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that is amazing. Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
just went there probably a couple months ago. And I didn't stay there or anything. I just
Oh, yeah?
went down to hike and just to be there. Sit on top of one of the
Oh, I love those trails.
big hills, just sit on top of it and just look at the sunset. Oh my gosh, that place is heavenly. But
Oh,
to
yeah.
take a didgeridoo, oh my gosh, I bet that was the best sound in the world.
It was pretty cool. I ain't
That
gonna
is
lie.
awesome. Wow. So did you think that they would say yes, or did you just like, I'm just
I
going
don't
to
know.
take a shot?
I kind of knew it. I knew that he would. I mean, some crazy looking guy asking this. He's probably like, yeah, I want to hear this, hippie.
That's hilarious. Oh, I bet that sounded so good, though. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So you
Um,
mentioned.
yeah, you-
Oh, go ahead.
There's a lot of different, experiences I've had playing in, like, with poets and writers and stuff, but I've also played in metal bands and rock and roll bands, and I've played with acoustic musicians and country people, and I mean, there's been so many just amazing people I've played with that I would bore you to tears if I just started rattling them all off, But they're just, I feel really fortunate to have been able to play with all of these, like, different kinds of music, not just rock and roll, or not just this and that, and I kind of, I've taken a lot of those things and I've kind of mashed them all together to my own little thing,
Uh-huh.
so, what I'm playing are kind of like more, I don't want to use the term hippie, but sometimes just like considered hippie type, stuff, but in my head, I'm playing metal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just so funny, and so, like, I try to, like, meld and marry different things from all over the world together, because it's, I think about, like, classical music, like that to me is almost like metal or rock and roll.
It can be, yes,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
Uh-huh.
And like the African instruments, to me, some people may disagree, is the base of rock and roll and the blues and all this and
Mm-hmm.
that. And so it's like within me doing this kit and playing, like, mainly like African type instruments, it's like that whole thing is kind of coming around full circle.
Yeah, I totally get
So
what you're saying. Yes.
so yeah, I would get to just, it just comes right on back around, and kind of like just in a different form.
Yeah.
And,
So when you are the different groups that you've played with, the kits are pretty different, correct? Like, or do you
Yeah.
use the same, or do you use the same kit that you have there with all the groups, or do you go,
No.
oh, this group right here needs this, or
No,
this group needs this special setup, that kind of thing?
well, so I also play with a surf rock group called Tsunami Samurai.
Okay.
And so that drum kit is just a regular drum kit, like a snare, kick drum, two toms, hi-hat, a couple cymbals, and that's it. I also am a drummer with a band called Brother Wolves. And so with that group, I actually have another kit that I play. It's all bourbon barrel drum kits, but it's like a little bit bigger, and it's more
Mm-hmm.
like rock and roll type drum set stuff. So I've got quite a collection of drums for whatever application I need to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. So your place is probably full of instruments.
I don't have much other than that and art and a couple pieces of furniture.
It sounds like my house. That's very
Yeah.
cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me
Yeah.
more about your artwork. You mentioned you're an artist as well. Tell us about that.
Well, I've been drawing since I was 2, and I could basically got to a point where I could draw anything I see.
Ooh, wow.
So I'm like photorealist,
Mhm.
in a lot of respects. And I didn't start actually painting until I was in my mid-20s. So I worked on doing like hand drawing, like pen and pencil drawings for a long time, and mastered the visual form. And then at some point I was just like, I ought to start putting color on things. And so yeah, and I've been doing oil and watercolor and acrylic painting, and I do sculpture as well. I mean, I'm a metal guy, so I can
Right.
pretty much make anything out of metal that I really want to. So
So you're like the triple threat.
I'm a writer too. So
You're the quadruple threat. You are the
I'm probably a bigger threat than all that, but I have fun. I really just have I have my family to thank. Like everybody in my family was either like a writer or an artist or a musician or architect, a carpenter. Like I was surrounded by a lot of really talented and amazing people,
Mhm.
and I feel fortunate to wake up every day and be able to do some of this stuff. And I spent a lot of time doing art in a lot of time playing drums and playing music in general. And, you know, that's where some of large chunks of my life have went to, you know, holed up by myself in my own little world. And, you know,
So do you feel like all those things are related to each other?
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's an expression of who I am,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just different forms, and they all those forms aren't always open to me, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's why it's good for me to be able to switch around, you know, because like I haven't drawn a picture in about over a year,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
I drew one this morning, and I'm really happy with it,
Oh,
you know.
good. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was real nice, and it felt good. But you know, I try not to get on myself too bad about having little dry spells,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So they all, you know, like I think about that mystery and magic as kind of like water, and it's gonna come out. It's gonna flow one way out of me, and so I try to have as many outlets as possible.
Yeah,
Because sometimes some places are dammed up for other reasons, you know.
that's a great way to look at it. Good analogy. Yeah. If you
Yeah,
can't express it this way, then you have these other ways that you can express it, which is
right.
really important. So yeah, well, you know what? That's really cool. I love the fact that you're not just a drummer. You have all these other sides as well, but they all complement each other, which is really
Oh
wonderful.
yeah, they fit. They fit in all the whole scheme of Andy.
The whole scheme of it. And your drum kit. Yes, it's like all works together.
Uh-huh.
Well, if somebody's looking for your services, we talked about Rocker Built,
Yep.
where they can find you, www.rockerbuilt.com.
Yep.
It
And we have Instagram and Facebook pages and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I mean, you can even look up Andy Cook or you can look up Brad White. I mean, we artists and musicians that have been part of the scene for a long time. So you know, we're available.
Okay, sweet.
You know,
Is there anything else that you would like to tell people?
I mean, just listen to the inward, the voice, the pull, the tug, that mystery thing. You know, Joseph Campbell called it the bliss, living your bliss, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, listen to your feelings. You know, I think as a child, you know, like becoming obese like I did, I I, I spent a long time not listening to my feelings. You know, and I you know unconsciously buffered them out of my life, and that was, you know, it was unfortunate, but it made me who I am, and I've grown a lot since then. But you know, listen inwardly and respond to it. You know, it doesn't always mean it's right. You know, but like take time to actually hear what you have going on the inside. You know, because that's the only thing. Like sometimes I feel like wildly naive because I follow it. You know, like I'll fall head over heels in love with somebody, and you know, even if it may not seem like it makes sense at the time, it's just like, but this is my heart is telling me this, and I've got to do this. There's some kind of this means something, you know, and it's also usually just part of the lesson. That's we're coming to a place, coming to a being, and that I found that little voice on the inside is trying to pull you to who you're becoming, you know, and I think it's
Yes.
very important.
Yeah. Listen to who you truly are and
Yeah, you
follow it.
yeah, whatever religion you think, whatever you believe, whatever you don't believe, I mean, you're listen to your gut, you know, it's all kind
Hmm.
of all the same thing, you know, so. I
Yeah.
don't know. I would say that's the biggest thing, and that's been one of the most important things in my life is listening.
Well, I'm glad you listened because you're amazing. I want to
No, thank
thank you so much truly thank you so much for sharing what
Thank
you
you.
do, because it's so important to our community and, to the world. There will be
Yeah.
people reaching out from everywhere. So I
Well,
really appreciate you sharing with us today.
good. I feel fortunate to have had a lot of great people share stuff with me, and I feel like it's my duty to share those things with other people too. And
Yeah.
that's what we're all doing is sharing the good stuff. Especially and we got to especially now when things are confusing and scary and freaky and nobody knows what to believe. Like
Yeah.
this is when we got to be real extra loving on each other and like we're all there's some other people that it doesn't seem like they fit in the world, but we're all part of the same thing. Even you know political people that we may not like, they're all part of this somehow. And through our music and our
Absolutely.
stories and everything, we're sharing things and we're trying to heal the world, and we can't lose sight of the people that are on the other side of the spectrum because they are us too.
That's
And that's one of the hardest things to come to terms with, but then to find some way of embracing.
you are
So,
absolutely correct. Thank you for saying that.
thank you.
And thank you for sharing all of what you did, because somebody's going to watch this and just be really inspired by your story. But then, yes, I mean, that might give them a little bit of hope that they can move on and they can listen to their heart and they can do what it is that they need to do,
Right.
to be that light or spark in the world. So thank you
Whatever you
so
want to call
much,
it.
Andy.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
You're welcome. Thank
And
you.
I want
I'm
to
glad
see.
that the audio worked.
Yes, me too. And you know what? It's at some point, I saw you guys online on that live stream whenever it's, we're allowed to go and see people live and that kind of thing. I'm going to catch your show. So I'm going to be following Banshee. So I'll encourage everybody to follow Banshee. How do you spell it?
BANDSHEE.
Okay, follow them on Facebook. Or do you have an Instagram for Banshee?
Yes.
Okay, and Instagram. So check out Andy playing the drums, his cool kit with Banshee, BANDSHEE, on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to catch, a unique and inspirational piece of metalwork or even artwork, check him out at rockerbuilt.com. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us today, Andy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And everybody follow hashtag Power of Percussion Podcast and share this with your friends. Please share this with your friends. It will be a gift to the world.
Thank you.